everyone. Today we're going to go over the move method from the bug class in GridWorld. Hope you're having a good holiday break. All right, let's get started. You can access the source code for the bug class inside of the GridWorld framework folder. So as you can see in front of you here, you have the GridWorld code folder. So if you double click on framework, double click on info, GridWorld, and actor, you're gonna see the source code for all of the classes in the actor package. You scroll down here, we have bug. If you double click on bug, it should take you to your bug class. Depending on how you've set up your computer, you might have Notepad++ or Notepad or whatever it is you might be using. In front of you here, you should see the act method. Of course, move is used inside the act method. If my bug can move, it'll move. If you have not looked at the video yet or watched the video for can move, you should probably do that first before you watch this particular video. But if you have, let's move forward. Where are we here? So I've already copy and pasted out the move method for the bug class, or not copy and pasted, I screenshotted it out. So here we have public void move, so move does not return a value. So let's go over this line by line, and hopefully it's pretty clear. So on line 73 here, I'm going to see if I can, let me highlight it here. On line 73, right there, we have the getGrid method being called, right? We have getGrid method being called. And again, the getGrid method does belong to the actor class, and since bug inherits from actor, we do have access to that method. And what the getGrid method does is it retrieves the grid object that the bug or the actor resides in. That object would be assigned to the gr variable right there. If getGrid does not return an object but instead returns a null value, it means that the actor is not in a grid, right? And in the next line, in line 74, you see here, right? Here's line 74. What's happening is if gr, or if our grid variable, is equal to null, we are going to end the method, right? We don't want our actor to move if it is not in a grid. If we can get past this return statement, it means we are in a grid. So we're going to skip down to line 77 down here and take a look what's going on there. So on the right side of our assignment statement, we have our getLocation method call. Again, that method also belongs to the actor class. So the actor class does provide bug with a lot of different methods we can use. You guys are going to create other bugs in the future and other critters, and whenever you extend actor or extend bug or extend critter, you do inherit all of these behaviors. You have access to them. And what getLocation does is it retrieves the current location that the bug is in, and we assign that to the loc variable there, also called I'm going to call it the loc variable. Once we have that object, the location object, on the next line, on line 78, you can see we are calling the getAdjacentLocation method. And what that method does, it retrieves the location object in the direction that the bug is facing. And what that will do is once you have that object, we are going to assign it to next. The great thing about the location object is that we don't have to worry about row and column. We don't have to worry about those numbers all the time. If I have the current location that I'm facing, the current location that we're at, we can always use the getAdjacentLocation and pass it a direction and retrieve the location adjacent to our current one. It's a pretty handy method, and it's a pretty handy class. Once next has the next location that we might move to, right? We still got to check a bunch of things before we decide we can move there. Once we have the location we might move to, the next thing we're going to do on line 80 is that we're going to check to see if that location is valid. Notice that the isValid method belongs to gr, which is a grid object variable. And what we're checking for is whether or not that location is in the grid. If it's not in the grid, we shouldn't be moving there. Right? It's going to be off the grid. And if it's unbounded, that it will never return false. So isValid is going to return true. If it's in the grid, it'll return false if it's not in the grid. As you can see on line 80, if it's true, we are going to call move to, right? And move to is also part of the actor class, so another method that we're inheriting. And I didn't mention it yet, but if you have not looked in Java API yet, you really do need to know where it is and know where the API for GridWorld is and be able to access these, these information. So, if the next location is valid, we are going to move to that location. Else, we are going to ask our actor to remove itself from the grid, right? So we're going to call the remove self from grid method there that I've just highlighted, and ask the actor to remove itself from the grid. All right, so that takes care of movement. As you know with bug, when the bug takes a step forward, it does leave something behind. And what it leaves behind is a flower. So line 85 and line 86, we're going to take care of that flower. Line 85, we're going to create a flower object. This is a pretty standard line. I'm going to highlight the construction of our flower object there. And you'll notice that in order to construct a flower, we have to give it a color. So we're going to retrieve, I'm going to highlight the proper area. We're going to retrieve the current color of our bug. All right, get color there. Notice that the implicit parameter should be this implicit parameter, so it is the calling object, which in our case is bug, and we are going to retrieve the current color, the calling object, and we're going to pass it to flower, and flower is going to be created with that color. We're going to assign it to the flower variable, and on line 86, which I'll highlight very quickly there, on line 86, we're going to take that flower and we're going to ask the flower to put itself in the grid. Now this is a little different. Up until this point, you've only seen actors being added in a driver, but you can see that put self in grid is a method. It belongs to the actor class, and flower also extends actor. So flower also has all of these really handy methods. And we can ask the flower to put itself in the grid. We don't have to always use an actor world object. So we're going to ask the flower to put itself in the grid, and there are two parameters. The first parameter is the grid to put the flower into. So it wants to know the location of where to put the flower. And the next parameter is where should we put it, and we're going to put it in LOC, which if you remember, if you think back, I'm going to kind of do a little arrow there. If we think back, location or LOC is holding the location of our bug, and next was holding where we would move to. So even though the bug has moved to next, LOC is still holding that previous location. So that takes care of bug. I hope this was helpful. Please email me if you feel like I've missed anything or if I've made a mistake. And thank you for listening.